your girl, Smart Ass Ash, and I am here live in the studio with an interview with a special guest. Happens to be one of my childhood friends, and I'm excited to be on this side to talk to him about his journey along the lines with music, production, and all of the things working with some of the hottest artists here in Kansas City and all of the surrounding states. So I'm going to introduce to you guys and present to others Chris Mouthpeace Johnson.
What up, y'all? What
Hey,
up?
hey, what's up, friend? How you doing?
I'm good.
That's good. So I'm glad to have you here in the studio today.
I'm glad to be here.
You know, I don't really want to go too personal as far as like, because we want to keep it professional, and I know you might have some stuff you want to give to your audience later, but can you just kind of give us a little bit of your background? Like, who are you? Where were you born? Where you from? What you about? What's up?
I was born in Kansas City. Kind of grew up in Grandview. I started playing drums early. Probably around 3 years old, 4 years old, and then my dad was like, "Well, it's time to play. Yeah, I want you to learn how to do melodies first." So he tried to teach me piano, and he tried to teach me guitar at the Academy of Performing Arts in Kansas City. But I was so small back then that my fingers wasn't reaching the piano, and I definitely couldn't play guitar. It was way too big.
Right.
So I just kind of shadow drummed on everything that I could possibly find, like dashboards and tables and whatever you could do, and just kind of watched my dad. He's a Hall of Fame drummer. He's been playing drums. In the 70s, he was in classic rock bands, a band called Nation that got him inducted into the Kansas Music Hall of Fame in 2018. In 2019, he was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame for being with a country artist named Tracy Lawrence, and he was on a 7-time platinum album called Penny in Birmingham, and he got inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame from that. So the whole time he was in shows and on tour, and that's all. My whole life was just rolling around in bars and going and seeing him play and just trying to emulate that, and then on the way down to the lake house every weekend, I try to play on the dashboard and try to emulate what was going on the radio, and it just sort of took off. I really loved music. In middle school, I was in jazz band. We won every competition that year and ended up getting a chance to play with the remaining members of Count Basie, and that was an honor. That was awesome. Yeah, and we got to do it at MU's auditorium, so it was pretty cool. It was a pretty big thing. And then 9th grade, I got into symphonic, jazz, and marching band at the high school. And I went first chair all-state, all-district marching band, jazz band, and symphonic my first year. And then I got in a car. Then a car wreck happened when I was 13, and when I was 15, I was rebellious, so I got in a little trouble, stealing my mom's car, I guess, and I had a lot of time after that to think about what I wanted to do with myself and what I was going to do, and I ended up at the alternative school because of that. Okay. And from there, I started playing the drums on the lunch table every day for the rappers, you know what I'm saying?
That I remember. That I definitely remember. I was a part of that. So I'm glad you mentioned some of that. So I definitely can see how your father definitely had a major influence on your passion for music.
I probably wouldn't have stayed focused had he not been doing it full time. I mean, I was really big into sports back then. I was really big into athletics and all that stuff, but everything kept pushing me back to music because, like I said, my dad was doing it constantly, every day, every weekend. He was doing shows all over town, so I've given up several times on music in my 30 years of doing it, but it always pushed me back because every time he was exceeding in something else, you see him in a newspaper for this or doing this and this, and you're like, it's in your blood, dog. I mean, like, what are you supposed to do at that point in time but just try to give it your all and figure out what you're missing? And that's when he got inducted in the Hall of Fame. That's what did it for me. Is I sat and I'm not joking. I looked in the mirror and I said, "What do you want out of this? Do you really what your dad's? You got big shoes to fill. So you think you can do it? You know what I'm saying?" And then I asked myself, "What are you missing?" And at that point in time in the hip hop industry, I was missing the ability to know how to sample music. I was learning. I didn't know how to play melodies on a piano, so I had to teach myself all that stuff. So I spent 2 years, like.
I'm glad you said that. That actually brings me to my next question.
Okay, perfect.
So that's specifically about like training and education. I know earlier you talked about being like 4 years old and not being able to touch the piano and so forth. So as far as your formal education, you mentioned middle school drumming, being a drum major. Can we talk a little bit more about that and like learning music or reading music? I think you were going there. And then there was a story you told me too about being a drum major with another local producer.
With Gabe Rowland.
Yeah, so talk about all of that for me.
So if you've ever seen the movie Drumline, I was pretty much Nick Cannon and Gabe Rowland was the drum major, and I was just in Drumline, and I couldn't read a lick of sheet music to save my life. I mean, it just was like Chinese to me.
Okay.
And Gabe was the exact opposite. He was rudimentary, read sheet music, knew how to do everything, and he would just be mad at me all the time because I was already learning the steps and other people were still reading the sheet music and trying to follow along. I had it memorized. Mr. Drummond would just give me a tape or a CD. And I think in middle school, Mr. Andrews gave me tapes to learn all of the jazz stuff.
Cassette tapes?
Yeah, cassette tapes.
Okay.
And I would listen to them and put the headphones on, and I would just, my dad let me keep one of his spare sets in my bedroom, so I would just, I had one of those old cords that like curled up, rolled up, you know what I'm saying? And I had it drug from the stereo all the way in the living room, all the way down the hallway into my bedroom where I could listen to the headphones and play along with the tape he gave me. And I just played until I memorized it, you know what I'm saying? And then same thing with marching band. I just listened to the CD Mr. Drummond gave me, and that was all I had to do. I mean, but he would be so mad, and we would yell at each other, or he would be mad because like I didn't know the fundamentals. I was just memorizing everything, and so he could tell that my fundamentals weren't perfect, my rolls weren't perfect, but they sounded great. You know, it's just you could hear if you know what you're listening for. My stuff wasn't perfect, you know. So he'd get mad at me for that, and we're like in big competitions. And I remember being in Blue Springs one time, and we did one of those cadence offs or whatever, you know, where I play a cadence and then he try to play the cadence and then he'd go harder and then I try to go, you know, back and forth to the point where we got kicked off that show. Me and him got sent. It was bad. So, and now he's in Los Angeles making beats for Chris Brown, and he's very successful. Just got a Grammy. Just got so. And he helped me a lot. And he still helps me. I still talk to him, and he gives me a little guidance on stuff that I need when I'm mastering stuff, and he'll tell me how to tone stuff down a little bit to make it blend together. And it really started helping me figuring out how to make a perfect composition, you know, instead of one sound being too loud or one, you know, something drowning the other sound out. I just kind of, through him and Woodgrain, Woodgrain worked really hard with me too on that stuff, but yeah.
That's cool. So would you say that you have any mentors or influencers outside of your father who has maybe shaped or developed you as a producer? Yeah,
Jazz Brewer is one of them. Okay. I mean, he's been my engineer for the last 2, 3, 4 years, something like that, and he gives me guidance, and when we're sitting in the studio working with the artists while they're recording the stuff, because he always invites me out there. And I make sure I go to all of them because it's free game. I mean, being a producer and getting to go into a studio session and watch what they do is free game. So I soaked it all up, and like I said, I send this stuff to them on Facebook Messenger, and they listen to it, you know. Mm-hmm. And they give me guidance. No, this is too loud. Maybe you should do this. And I also have, a couple beat making like groups on Facebook, and I have met a ton of young producers and old producers that are doing big things and winning competitions all over the country, and they help me out a lot. They give me so much input for free. They don't ask for nothing from me, but they always ask to work together, you know what I'm saying? Like make productions together. So I soak up as much game as I can from really anybody that's got something to learn from.
That's cool. I love that you continue to gather knowledge and information in your craft. And so about like your career journey, is there something or a monumental moment that stands out to you, or some milestones that stand out to you that you want to point out?
Well, yeah, I mean, getting my first platinum streaming record was amazing. For 2 million streams, like, that just blows my mind that 2 million people listen to your music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cedric the Entertainer came out playing my song in the Sprint Center. I couldn't. You know how many people tagged me and Julius or Casey Youngboss in post in the Sprint Center bumping my song, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is the biggest stadium and the biggest arena in Kansas City, and for my music to be knocking on all those speakers all over that place, man, that just. I wish I could have been there. If I would have known he was gonna get, nobody knew he was coming out to that song. So it was just, an honor to have worked on a lot of these projects that they just get. The Chiefs anthem is another big one too, because that's the reason why I'm here today. Without that anthem going viral, it became the number 2.
Which one? Can you pull it up for us?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, let us hear that real quick. I'd love to hear it. We are here in Kansas City, home of the Super Bowl champions.
Right.
We still call them a 3-peat, even though we didn't take the third one home. We still win.
It's with Casey Youngboss, Miss Kush, and the Poppers.
Let's go! Anthem song, cause we don't do anthems wrong. Kansas City Chiefs is in the Super Bowl, so dance along. Men buy a beer, women scream, try and cheer. Turn up on that other side that's dressing 49ers gear. We 816, we 913. Lombardi trophy up is what it's time to see. Chiefs Kingdom.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, represent the town.
And, I mean, you already know that the Popper is a legend in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. Casey Youngboss is fastly becoming one of the best rappers in Kansas City. I mean, he's literally won Kansas City People's Choice Awards Best Rapper 3 years in a row. Missouri Best Rapper. And then you got Miss Kush is on the whole other side. The best female rapper in Kansas City is Miss Kush. So to have all 3 of them on one of your breakout tracks was monumental.
What role do you feel like collaboration plays in music production?
It's everything. I mean, that's what I think is a lot of times some of Kansas City's downfall, because they could be bigger if they wanted to be, but no, everybody picks their side and chooses their own side. But if everybody got together and made music together for the city instead of for themselves, then we would probably have already broken out into the international barriers and been nationally known all over the place, other than just for what we are. So I think collaboration for me, like with that Chiefs anthem, when you can get 3 of the biggest artists in Kansas City on one track, it does a lot for Kansas City. People love to see that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it attracts attention to other artists that want to come and collaborate with you. So it's really big in this music industry. Staying by yourself and trying to do everything yourself will not get you very far.
So what genres do you primarily work in?
If you want to be technical, mostly gangster rap. I mean, mob music, gangster rap, but I can make anything. I'm really dabbling in the R&B circles now, and trying to focus on learning. I'm about to teach myself the guitar, so I can really just hand play the stuff, because it's impossible to play a guitar on a piano. So I really want to get into doing stuff like that, but yeah, collaboration is the way to go. I mean,
facts. So, are there any specific artists or albums that you find particularly inspiring or that you want to work with?
Oh, there's lots of artists I want to work with.
Okay.
There's lots and lots of artists that I would really love to work with in the Kansas City area. There's still a few that I would like to get on my track, and I've got a couple under my wing right now. A cat named Mars Black. He's about to be the next thing. I already know he is. So, and he wants to work with us. So, along with that, bigger artists outside of here, I'd love to get on track with Lil Baby or, there's a ton, NF, or obviously Eminem's always been a key rapper that I like to work with, obviously, but producer wise, I already got to meet Zaytoven, but I'd love to work with him. You know what I'm saying? Timbaland as well. There's some of my inspirations. Scott Storch is one of my favorite producers of all times. Made pretty much every song that you heard from 1999 to 2007. So, and still continues to do stuff. There's lots and lots and lots of artists I really like. NBA YoungBoy would be cool to work with. Kevin Gates, that's something I would really love to work with his voice because it's just so unique. And get to a lot of down south artists. I really would like to mess with a lot of down south artists too. So I mean, I've worked with a lot of my inspirations in Kansas City.